Yo, what's up? I got Syntax Vernac. He's on the Zoom call.
What's
And
pop?
hey, what's up, man? Hey, where you coming to us from? Where you at right now?
Right now, I'm in the middle of a lockout recording session with my dude's speech impediments.
Word.
We're up in the mountains in Big Bear. We rented out a cabin and converted everything into being like a basically a semi permanent studio situation where all the levels get dialed in and we get to leave and go get lunch and not worry about someone touching the session files or whatever.
Oh,
And
word.
we like to be private when we work anyway, so this is a good scenario for that. Yeah.
That's dope, man. And what I appreciate about you guys and you especially uh, through the pandemic, a lot of people were waiting, holding their spot. Okay, when it opens back up, I'm ready to go. But
Yeah.
I know you guys have already hit a couple shows during the pandemic and definitely didn't stop recording. So
Right.
this is just a continuation of that.
Precisely. I mean, we this kind of has become the so indie theme where
Right.
we pick certain locations and just get busy. I mean, we bring whatever equipment we can. We
Right.
some people have pre-written stuff. I myself like to do the stuff on the spot. I like to feed
Yeah.
off that
Oh,
on the spot
definitely.
kind of energy. But some
Right.
artists need time. Some people like to sit down and brainstorm when they write. I'm more of an on the spot kind of guy. I mean, shit. Sometimes I'll freestyle portions of verses. That's not
Hmm.
unheard of.
Yeah.
But everybody works differently. So
That's true. And I wish I would have done that more, um, is work more spontaneously on stuff. I was so budget conscious back then that I was like, I don't want to waste a single second. But
yes,
looking back on it, I should have just spent the bread and and been more spontaneous because you do get those vibes when you're in the studio that you don't get anywhere else.
right, right. And occasionally we'll do things where we do a tour record, let's say, or a destination record, and occasionally the engineer will hit somebody up, and a few days later or after the trip,
Hmm.
with an email like, "Hey, I might need you to do a re-recording on this and this take," and it's like,
Word.
well, hold on, like even if we spit it what we think is exactly the same, you're not gonna really capture that same energy or that thing where
Yes.
where
Yes.
yo, I cleared my throat a little bit before that one bar, and that added to that certain type of grime that
Yeah.
you can hear that translates through the audio.
Yeah,
Um,
and a lot of hip hop still has to be live too. Is I think what you're alluding to. It's got to
right.
have that energy, that raw energy.
Yeah. If it's too polished, then you're losing a lot of what that magic is, and a lot of what
Hmm.
what is created by that on the spot type of feeling.
Yeah, I totally agree, man. And shout out to you. Shout out to Speech Impediments. Um,
Word up.
I want to
Thank you.
ask you. It's Hip Hop Appreciation Week 2021,
Yeah.
and we're discussing hip hop as culture. And I wanted to ask you because you're obviously Syntax Vernac, MC extraordinaire, but you're also owner and operator of Keep Records LLC.
Right.
And your tagline is keep your rights, keep indie, keep records. So a common theme in hip hop is signing bad record deals and the suffrage that comes from realizing that you signed a bad deal years afterwards. And
Right.
so that's one part of it is the knowledge of it and the discussion of it, the talk. But what you're doing is actually the work into it, where you offer your artists non-exclusive contracts. And I want to pick your brain. Give me the vision, the visualization. How did you end up here, and what was the vision? How'd you come to be?
Uh, at I mean, long story short, it became a situation of I was tired of shopping my own material, and I was tired of finding avenues as an artist myself. That it
Right.
became at first more of kind of like um, a vanity label, if you will, where it was like,
Okay.
hey, I need a way to put my stuff out. And this is before, and when I say internet, I mean like not before the internet was created. You know what I
Right.
mean? I mean before the culture went the way of
Hmm.
of the internet. So before
Understood.
SoundCloud and even before before MySpace, which some people watching this might be
yeah.
young enough to not even understand the reference, but MySpace was a thing that was before Facebook, which was
Definitely.
basically the same idea.
Definitely.
And so this is even before that, I was trying to find, you know, what's the best way to put out music. I don't want to get burned. A lot of these topics that artists now end up having these types of conversations before they even record their first song. It's like, hold on, what are you doing talking about points and royalties and expectations when you haven't even pressed a record button to hear yourself in playback? So at least now I do like and enjoy that the legalities and the knowledge and the ability to put your music out is available now, which kind of makes labels like Keep Records less relevant, because if you're an artist that knows how to put your shit out by yourself, then you don't need to get with any labels in all reality, you know?
Right.
So I knew for a fact through touring and through collaborations that a lot of artists were in the same boat as me. So it was like, well, instead of everybody paying for the legal fees and the filing fees and the business license.
And it adds up and there's a lot to it.
Yeah, man. I mean, we could just throw like just a very round, easy number. Even if you're a super independent, super unknown, you making almost no money, like the cost of being legit is somewhere in the realm of, let's say, $500 to $1,000 a month. So if you're an artist that doesn't make at least that amount of money, then do not start your own label, because then you're already in negative numbers. So what do people do in what I would call the micro level? Like Keep Records is like a micro label, the same way your local bar might brew their own beer and they have their own micro brew. We're a micro
that's a dope
label.
Analogy. Yeah.
So we're a micro label. So if you could sell a couple hundred records and you're only going to make a few $1,000s on your release, come to Keep Records, because we can help you facilitate that without having to come out the pocket for paying thousands of dollars in extra bullshit fees that you may not recoup.
Absolutely.
So basically, I put myself out there as the guy. It was like, hey, if you want to do this shit, I've already paid those fees and I've already walked that path to where you can just give me a piece of music and I can help you put it where it needs to be. That's essentially it.
That's dope, man. And as you can see in the background, I got the So Windy It Hurts Volume 2 record here. I got the Sashimi record.
Thank you.
Because you put out, what I love about you guys, you put out vinyl only releases. I mean, not all the time. You got CD definitely, but you're true to the culture in that way also. Putting out vinyl, not only 12-inch, but, you know, the 45s, which I definitely appreciate. And we got the mug here, which is some merch that I happen to come upon while you guys are doing your coffee shop series.
Yeah.
But I wanted to pick your brain. You said about the Vanity label, and I think I'm going through that now. As you know, I'm a writer, and the way you and I connected, I'm not recording anymore. Obviously, I'm surpassed Flavor, but I transitioned over to writing. And one thing that I appreciate about your DNA was, you know, we had a good relationship, and you said, hey, we could collab on something. You know what I mean? And so you tapped me for my writing skills early on, and we've went through a couple projects, and I want to share with everybody that, you know, you put me on, you put part of my review on the back of your record, which is really legit. And,
that was an honor to us, man. We were more than happy to present that and show that, you know, that there's more than just the artists on the record who care about this thing.
Dope. And I appreciate that. And that's an example of hip hop collaboration and grabbing whatever you can, because you know, I feel like I'm a part of that record because I know how you guys created it, and I know, you know, we listened to it you allowed me to listen to it through its stages. And so now, if you can elaborate on the success of it, because now it's in mad record shops, and I
Yeah.
feel pride with that. Can you elaborate on what the record's doing right now?
Yeah, basically it's been a little over 4 months. We dropped it very early this year. January 5th was the official release date for that. So it is a pandemic baby. I mean, that's a January 2021 record.
Right.
And there's no CDs available for it. So the only format, the only tangible physical format you can have it in is right behind you on that 12-inch record.
Oh, dope.
Which is the very first record that we ever dropped as Keep Records, in 12-inch format. Everything we've done up until then was either, random singles or 7-inch releases, things of that nature. So it took us 4 months to outsell every other title in our catalog. So that kind of created like an excitement avalanche, if you will, where okay, Zia Records, for instance, picked it up, which is one of our favorite independent chains.
Yeah,
because
for sure.
we know
Shout out
because
to Zia Records,
because I mean they're a place in town that are the type of record store that we live and breathe for. I mean, we grew up loving places like this, and the fact that they're still around, we're more than happy to support them and shout them out whenever possible. So if they pick up our project, boom, that's like triumph. That's like call everyone you know, shout from the rooftops, like, oh, we're at your favorite record store.
Yeah.
So people who enjoy vinyl understand that, and the word spread, and next thing you know, markets that we usually only go to on tour, where we don't even represent any artists, end up picking up the record. And now that record is in about 20 physical retail stores, as well as selling online. And we're approaching now, I mean, we haven't even had that thing out for half a year yet, and we're already talking about doing the repress. And anyone that's ever pressed vinyl or put out vinyl knows that the repress conversation is really exciting, because you're not really in a power position or in a celebration situation until you get to a repress with vinyl, because all of the expenses go for that initial press.
I agree.
It's not until you're in like a big profit margin or a celebratory zone until you order batch number 2, because now the word has spread. Now you know that there's demand. Now you know it's more than just grandma and your cousin and your sister that bought the album. Now there's actually
and
people.
Big up to grandma, big up to you.
No, and we love. Thank you.
Ground.
Yes, thank you for spreading the word and helping it get off the ground. But until people who you do not know on a first name basis start picking up your product, you're not really a viable product. That doesn't mean you're not a viable artist. It just means that you're not in the market yet.
That's lovely, man. And congrats on the success of that pressing. First off, the music is phenomenal.
Thank you.
I appreciate the collaboration between us, but the music is phenomenal. You got great artists on your roster, and your best work is still ahead of you. I know that because I can see your releases get better and better as they go. And so we met in Las Vegas, and I met you at a time where I really needed to talk with somebody about hip hop. I mean, obviously we have similar musical tastes in hip hop, but also I love talking with you because we talk about the nuances of flow and delivery and production and things like that. So obviously I'm from Denver. My hope is that Denver peeps will see this and want to reach out, and I could be the middleman because I could definitely see you guys swapping shows, you over there and them, hosting them here in Las Vegas.
We live for doing those types of swaps and co-ops. I mean, that's the living, breathing heart of our independent culture.
Yeah, and you said it, man. That's hip hop itself. But I want to know a little bit about your background. Where are you from, and how did you get to the city of Sin? I
moved to Las Vegas in 2008. So we're looking at what, like 13 years now. So
Yeah.
as far as Keep Records is concerned, that in its entirety is born, raised, Las Vegas label. No
Word.
doubt about that.
Word.
Now before that, when I came up with speech impediments and even doing stuff prior to the speech impediment stuff, that's all Southern California. So my stomping grounds, my roots, my seed was planted in Orange County, California, around,
Word.
like Anaheim area,
Dope.
the beach cities,
Mhm.
and basically the realm that was between San Diego and Los Angeles.
Dope.
That pocket, that market within the market is
Absolutely.
where we came up. And then once we got to Vegas, that really gave us an excuse to move more into like the Southwest as a region instead of just Orange County as a market. And for speaking in label terms or business terms, some artists don't necessarily understand these terms, but people like you and me know what's being said. But for those who might be watching or listening, who aren't familiar with that, a market would be like, let's say, a city, like, the Seattle area or the Los Angeles area. That would be what would be considered a market. Now, a region would be, let's say, the Southwest, and the Southwest would encompass all of California, Nevada, New Mexico, Arizona. Yeah, exactly. So now you're talking about a bigger zone, a bigger area. And within that region, you might have 50 markets.
Yeah. So that's why Peter Gunn said, hey, Tucson, baby. Tucson, baby. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So start calling out random ass markets. And places. Everyone's ready to hear you on a track talk about, yo, Miami, South Beach, what up?
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Yo, New York, Brooklyn, what up? Yo, Los Angeles. Like, well, yeah, because the population of these places is in the millions.
And it's recognition. It's recognition. People love to hear their city being shouted.
Yeah. But how often you hear someone jump on the mic and be like, what up, Sioux Falls? Like,
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't happen. Like, I mean, even like, what up,
you gotta
Albuquerque?
Be the first one to do it, man.
Yeah. So within these regions, I mean, you can hit small markets. You can, like, let's not forget, an album sale is an album sale. Yes. It doesn't matter if some kid from Sheboygan bought it. It don't matter if some kid from Atlanta bought it. Right. It don't matter, like.
Yeah, because hip hop is everywhere. We got hip hop fans all across the country, and I love that you hit those cities in between and are focusing on markets and regions and whatnot, because you've had success through your guys' mini tours. You've had much success.
Right. It's basically like it's taken a marketing mentality. It's like a big market mentality on a small market budget. So
that's fresh.
So it's like, okay, we can't afford to send out a street team and pay for a month campaign and actually employ 20 people to be out on the streets and put up 10,000 posters.
Right.
But for a fraction of that cost, I can go out myself for two weeks straight and slap up 2,000 posters.
Yeah. And I've seen you guys do it.
And I've the reaction. Yeah, right. So sometimes you might be on a freeway exit and be like, "Oh, look at that, a Keep Records poster." It's like you could probably say with a certain level of confidence that either someone on that record put that poster there, or this dude right here who you're looking at and talking to went out there with some tape and put that thing up at like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And
that's old school. And I think you have an advantage of that way, because even the majors, they're not doing that anymore. They used to, but they have dwindled down so much and moved, like you said, moved online also with everybody else, that they're not even doing it. So you're back to, hitting the streets and back to square one, which is something that they're not even doing anymore.
We only do what we love, and we can only work off of what we know is effective. And when we look back at campaigns and we look back at albums that we're still currently fans of, and when we look at artists who drop, not artists entirely like, oh, I like this person's sound, but let's just use, for example, Mos Def, Black on Both Sides. When I
Mhm.
say Mos Def and you think of a Mos Def album, you're probably going to think of Black on Both
I
Sides.
did. Yeah, most
You know,
definitely.
so like we think of the things that were done for these effective campaigns. Like way back in the day, you'll remember Loud Records. They had
Oh
amazing
yeah.
campaigns because they
Hmm.
focused on street promo, on mailing.
Yes.
You know, and everybody thinks that digital promo translates the same now as street promo did back then, but that's not true
No,
because
it isn't.
a lot of our demographic are like skateboarders in their 20s, let's say.
Yeah.
Okay, a lot of these kids that are skaters in their 20s might not have things tagged on their social media like official interest
Hmm.
underground hip hop. Like
Right.
they might not be doing that.
Yeah.
But 90% of what they listen to might be independent hip hop, but they just
Yep.
didn't necessarily click that button on their social media. So some of your ads aren't going to reach these kids. But if you know where they hang out and you know what they
Yeah.
like to do, or
And
you
you got a
know they go
poster
to
on the
that
skate park. Yeah.
precisely. So we know that our kids are skaters. So we're going to cover that freaking skate park in
Dope.
posters, and we're going to hit the local fast food joints that are around there with posters. And you know what I mean? Like you got
Yeah.
to get in
That's
their
it.
face, because even if it's something you like, you still have to be coaxed and not necessarily pressured, but reminded to pull the trigger on the
Yeah.
purchase.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times have you seen something like you've seen an ad for a movie, or you've seen a poster for a book, or you've
Yeah.
seen
And it stays in the
whatever?
queue. It stays in the bin. It
Right, but
never.
and yeah, it goes into your little like mental interest box, and then a lot of the time you never end up going and making that purchase because something else grabbed your attention away just long enough before you could click the purchase button or whatever.
Word.
Right? So
Yeah.
so you just got to stay relevant. You got to stay, I don't know, just stay in view. And that is a thing where even now, even with as strong as internet promotions are,
Hmm.
you can't take away from street promo. And luckily for us, since everyone is ignoring that right now,
Yeah. Yeah.
that allows it to be effective for us, going back to doing what is a forgotten art.
Yeah. And that's
You-
dope. I always loved how Lupe did the Kid Push.
yeah,
And I thought at the time that hip hop was going to continue that, and it didn't. So I'm glad that you hit on that because, to be on a skateboard, you have to visualize everything and see 20 feet, 30 feet in front of you.
oh yeah,
So they're already trained. Most of us now, adults, we got our phones, we're trained to look here.
yep,
They're already trained to look there. So,
yep,
you just have to, like you said, put it in their view. Uh,
yes,
and real quick, before we hop up out of here, I want to quote Chuck D. Move as a team, never move alone. And the reason I bring that up is because, um, as I alluded to before, you have a diverse roster of artists that you picked up. They're not only from Las Vegas, they're from around the United States.
yeah,
How and I know it takes a lot to collaborate and move as a team.
yeah.
Can you give me a little insight on that? And because it's a team effort, it really is.
Yeah, and team, and you'll hear the phrase "teamwork makes the dream work," and
Yeah.
that's never more true than in the Keep Records squad or the So
No,
Indie squad even, um,
no.
because it we always Keep Records as a label will always offer the artists an option to be executive producers in their own stuff, which
Smooth.
means, we're about to make a move on your behalf and it costs X amount of money. Well, if you want to jump in and invest in your own project to
Mhm.
whatever percentage, then you can increase that level of percentage on your payback on the back end. Like super fair, super straightforward. And
Mhm.
we know some artists can't afford to do that for themselves, but we do always put the option up there, whether it's
That's
a
right.
show or putting a record out. So there's one piece of teamwork. Touring, oftentimes we'll have a tour situation up and we'll let let's say 10 artists know what the plan of the tour is and what the budget for the tour is, and here's the projected dates.
Right.
These are working class rhymers. I mean,
most definitely.
They have to get permission from work to get time off, or they have to let the wife know that, daddy's got to be gone. Is that okay?
Yeah.
For these 4 days or for these 10 days, I'm not going to be
making sacrifices for their art. That's a beautiful thing.
Exactly. So,
and the family's making sacrifices for their art.
Exactly. So when it comes down to how do we do it, we team up, and we team up in every way. We don't hire a driver. Someone on the squad's going to drive, and the person the person who takes on that role knows that they're not drinking, or so and so.
That's also important.
You have to make responsible steps as well. I mean, it's all fun and games, when you're on stage or when you're doing tracks or when you're at the studio, but every time
more like you said, more sacrifices. Somebody's got to sacrifice one night out of the tour. Hey, I'm not going to touch the alcohol because I'm the driver tonight. Yeah. And I love that you guys have that understanding before you go out on tour.
Oh, every detail, the more details that you can iron out before leaving the house, the more enjoyable the tour can be, because now those parts have already been hashed out. You don't have to have that conversation. You don't have to play a strategic, you don't have to change your strategy on, let's say before we leave, I know on day 3 that we're going to be at this and this restaurant for lunch sometime between 2 and 5 p.m. Right. Like that, like we know down to that kind of detail. I mean, that's how good the management is in these things, but that's because everyone cooperates. So you're asking, how do we get so many different people and so many diverse artists? The diversity is going to be a given, because the world is chock full of artists that have awesome material that just don't have a means to get it out. We've learned how to do that part. Okay. What we are learning together, and where the teamwork comes in, is to get the promo and the expansion as far as marketing would be concerned. So we're on tour. I might have never been in, let's say, I'll just say Spokane, Washington. I might have never been there up until a specific stop. Then we get there, and there's a couple opening acts on the bill that you never met before. Well, now through your natural environment, which is a venue and a show, you get to find out who's the people that operate similar to the way you do, and which people are the kind of people that you would not want to spend the night with, even if it was free. Right. So you know what I mean? So you immediately find, you get diamond in the rough, and then you don't, boom, like the goats go kick it over here, the sheep go kick it over there, the lions go kick it over there, the meerkats go kick it over there. Like, the like-minded types, the people who rock in similar ways, just kind of naturally gravitate towards each other. And next thing you know, you're trading information, tagging each other in social media. It sounds funny. People think you just send out a bunch of posts and tag a bunch of people and send emails. Less than 10% of the people who we work with were from submissions. Most of them are meeting them already doing work out on the field. Right. As a label owner, even though we're a micro label, the mentality goes the same all the way up through to the majors. Why am I going to invest in you when you are waiting for an investment to make moves happen? Yeah, that shows me that you're either lazy.
You know what I mean? To where if you meet somebody at a show, you guys are both doing, you have the same focus, the same mindset. And if you're stay together.
And if you're shopping for attention, well, then you're spending more effort trying to get that attention than you are spending effort on the art that you're trying to supposedly sell to me right now. Word. But if I see, as an example, if you're an artist where your caliber of art was like a 9 or a 10, but your savvy and your work ethic and your know-how was like a 4, I may or may not decide to work with you, even though your art is amazing. Right. Now let's switch it up. let's say someone comes to me whose art is only barely above average, let's say a 6 or a 7, but their work ethic, their enthusiasm, their willingness to do what's necessary to gain traction, if that part of their personality is a 9 or a 10, guess who I'm taking on tour?
Yeah, then it's a no.
Guess who I'm taking? I'm taking the guy who's
trumps talent every day. I know that.
And I'm telling you right now, I would take the person who's not as strong of an artist because I know that you can sharpen that sword.
Right.
But a person who doesn't have work ethic or enthusiasm or an understanding of what it takes, that sword isn't even in their toolbox. There's nothing to sharpen. They've already missed the point so far that you need a major label to help your ass, because you're not gonna get off the couch for yourself.
That's
so why, if you're not helping your own career, why the fuck am I gonna help it?
Yeah. So
that's all.
Before we bounce out of here, I see the engineers are lighting it up, ready to get going.
Oh,
I want to just thank you, because even though there are indie labels around, a lot of them are like this. They want to keep that knowledge to themselves. And you just broke it down for somebody who is like-minded, maybe thinking about starting or launching an independent record label. You gave them a lot of gems, man, and you weren't like this. You put it on for the culture, and I appreciate you guys taking time out of your sessions to meet with me and to celebrate Hip Hop Appreciation Week. And
thank you.
Yo, my brother, Syntax Vernac, I'll see you when you get back to Vegas. And
all right, man.
Shout out to everybody in the back. Shout out to you. Peace, love, and prosperity. And I can't wait to hear the music.
Thank you, my man. And we'll be talking soon.
Sounds good, bro. Stay up.
All right. Peace.
Peace.